All right, so this is for Algebra 2, and we're dealing with worksheet 4.3D in that section of the book here. So on the last assignment, the question was, like for example, is x plus 3 a factor of this function? G of x equals x squared minus 4x minus 21. Now, keep in mind that there are two zeros in this function. So one way to do this is to divide it out. So we can go x plus 3 into x squared minus 4x minus 21. So since there's a 1 here, we can do synthetic division. So change your signs. So you have, bring down the 1, negative 4, and negative 21, and then begin. So this one comes down, multiply that by that, negative 3, negative 7 times negative 3, 21, and you get a 0, so the answer to that is yes. So we're going to reduce this by one factor, one power, so this is 1x minus 7, and then here's my other factor, x plus 3. Now, I could have done this by the x box method, like that, since we have those tricks for squares, but this is just showing you how to do it. So what happens if I increase it by one power? Well, the x box doesn't work. So for example, is x plus 3 a factor of this one? Cube plus 6x squared minus x minus 30. Okay, now the x box method doesn't work, so now we are forced to divide this out. So you have x cubed plus 6x squared minus x minus 30. So again, using synthetic division, negative 3. Bring the 1 down, 6, negative 1, negative 30, and begin. So you have negative 3 is 3, negative 9, negative 10, 30, and the remainder is 0. So yes, that is a factor. So we reduce it by one power. So we have 1x squared plus 3x minus 10. Now, we knew there was 3 of these, and we found one here, or one was given to us, x plus 3. So there's still 2 more to go here. So how do you do this? Well, since it's down to a squared, I can go ahead and do the x in the box and factor it that way. Or I could complete the square, but usually I give you ones that work out really nice, so you don't have to complete the square. So let's put their values in, x squared minus 10 and plus 3x. Okay, so now negative 10x squared. Factors of work be 5x and 2x. Looks like it could be a positive and a negative. So let's put those in. All right, so you have x and x, minus 2 plus 5. So there's my other two factors. So this piece here gets broken down to x minus 2, x plus 5, and then you have the one that was given, x plus 3. Like so. All right, so the question is, how am I getting that this one is a possible one? Well, what you can do here, so let's say it started giving you one here, x plus, or g of x equals x cubed minus 3x squared minus 25x minus 21. Now there's a thing called the rational root theorem here, where you look at the numbers here and you look for all the possible factors of that, and the only ones that will go into 1 is plus or minus 1. Now 21, all the different numbers that will go into 21 would be 1, 2 doesn't go, but 3 does, 7, and 21. And these are all plus and minus of those. Therefore, if I take this value and divide it out, plus or minus 1, I would get plus or minus 1, 3, 7, and 21. Those would be the possible ones that might work. So what we want to do here is we don't want to divide out all these. So what you need to do is use your calculator on your phone, or you can just do it up here and just plug in, like, say, g of 1, g of negative 1. Now remember, you have possibility of putting the graphing calculators on your phone, or if you have one at home, go ahead and do so. So if you start plugging these in, eventually what you're going to do is get one that does go to 0. So I think the one that will actually eventually work will be x of 7 will eventually go to 0. All those others won't give it to you, which means that x equals 7 is a solution, which means then if I move this over, because this is a solution, I want to factor. My factor is x minus 7. So I want to take my factor of x minus 7 into x cubed minus 3x squared minus 25x minus 21. Okay, so now I can go ahead and do synthetic division. Okay, so let's bring this and move it up here, change the signs, and this should go to 0 because our calculators told us to. Alright, so bring this down, and let me change colors here. Multiply 4, multiply 28, 3, multiply 21, and lo and behold we get 0. So therefore what we have now is 1x squared plus 4x plus 3. So I found, out of 3, I found one of them. Now what I got to do is find the other 2. And I can do this by the X box method. So let's go X in the box. Okay, let's put my values in. So I have x squared plus 3 plus 4x. Okay, so this would be a positive 3x squared. So you have 3x and positive 1x. Okay. Now factor x plus 1 plus 3, and there's my other 2 factors. So I have x minus 7, and then my 2 new ones I just found here, x plus 1 and x plus 3, like so. Okay. All right, let me go through one more, or maybe a couple more examples of this. And 2, I just remember Desmos is what you use on your calculator. So so let's take this next one here. H of x equals x cubed plus 4x squared plus x plus 4. Okay, so we want to find the possible ones to check. Now I could just randomly start plugging negatives, or excuse me, plug numbers into my Desmos, or if you have a graphing calculator, you can do that. But let's narrow it down. So this number here plus or minus 1, all the factors. 4 be plus or minus 1, 2, and 4. Now since this is 1, if I divide it out, it'd be plus or minus 1, 2, 4. So I just want to try those 6 numbers. So let's go back to our Desmos now. Now remember, this is your Y1 in your graphing calculator in Desmos. Put this value in. Then you have to go to your tables and plug in the numbers of 1, -1, 2, -2, 4, and -4. Okay, now if you can't plug those numbers in, you have to go to table set up there on the very top someplace and change the input to ask and the output to automatic. Okay, so you can actually put whatever numbers you want. So as you put numbers in here, and I said if you have any trouble with that, go to YouTube, type it in, your question, and there will be a video explaining you how to do it. And if I can find one, I'll download it. All right. Okay, so doing that, what numbers will work? I think -4, this one here, will give me a 0. Okay. So that would mean that x equals -4 is one of my solutions, but I need, now that's a solution, I need a factor, which would be x plus 4. And that I need to divide it into now of 1x cubed plus 4x squared plus 1x plus 4. All right, now we're ready to divide out. Okay, so let's move it up. Okay, so change your signs, -4, 1, 4, 1, 4. Okay, and begin. That's the same color. Let's do green. 1. So -4 is 0. 0, 1. -4, remainder is 0. All right, so we reduce down by 1. So instead of cubed, it's now 1x squared. There are no x's here, plus 1. And then my other factor here is x plus 4. Now I found one of them, but now I got to factor the other piece here, and I don't have to do x box. So this is xx, 1, 1. But it's a plus, so it's x minus 1, x plus 1. And then this piece here, and there are my 3 factors that will work. Okay. Oh, and I forgot one thing. That was an I. So that should be an I, oops, x minus 1i and x plus 1i. I almost forgot that that is a complex number. Okay. All right, so let's go through another example of this. So we have something more to go on. Okay. So last one here. Okay, so my function h of x equals 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus 39x plus 20. All right. So factors here be plus or minus 1 and 2. For 20, be plus or minus 1 will go in 20, 2, 4 will, 5 will, 10 will, and 20. Now what I have to do though is I have to bring these over and divide out plus and minus 1 and 2. Alright, so here's my possible solutions. These are possible. So anytime we divide by 1, that's not going to change anything. So I would basically have plus and minus 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20. But now, dividing by 2 here, I'd have 1/2. 1 divided by 2. Then 2 divided by 2 is 1. But I already have that one. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. I have that one right there. 5 divided by 2, that's 5/2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Well, I got that one. And 20 divided by 2 is 10, and I have that one. So basically, I just picked up 2 more of the fractions there. All right, so now go to your graphing calculator or Desmos. Again, into your Y1 and plug in this thing here. Okay, now if you go to your tables and start plugging in all these numbers, look for one that will work. Okay, and I think you'll actually come up with 2, but we need just one of them. So let's say x equals 5 is the one you plugged in first, which means my factor, moving the 5 over, is x minus 5. And I want to divide that factor into 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus 39x plus 20. All right. So let's go set it up, change your signs. So you have 2, -3, -39, and 20. And begin. 2, 10 is 7. 35, which is -4. The -20 and 0, which we should get. Okay, so reduce the power. We had cubed now. It's going to be 2x squared plus 7x minus 4. And bring down the x minus 5 because that was one of the 3. And now what we can do is the x box method. So here's x, there's my box. Plug my numbers in, 2x squared minus 4 plus 7x. Okay, we have -8x squared. And it looks like the ones will work would be positive 8x and a negative 1x. Okay, so we have 8x, negative 1x. So I have to take a 2 here and a 1x here. That would mean that this would be a -1 here, and here would be a +4. So my factors, for this are 2x minus 1, x plus 4, and x minus 5. Because remember, this is the one that came from up here. And there's my 3. All right. Like I said, the hardest part on this one here will be using your Desmos on your phone. Or using a graphing calculator. Hopefully you have one of those 2 things. I think you can also do Desmos on your computer. So there's a lot of options. Again, if you're not sure how to use the Desmos, go to YouTube And if I find one, I can post it, but all you have to do is type it in, or just type it into the search bar and it will show you how to do it. Okay? You just got to take the step and actually type something in.